Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the FitBiz podcast. So today I'm really excited to chat with you. We're going to tell a little story. We have a couple special guests here that I'll introduce in just a minute. But to cut kind of right to the punchline and the chase of the story is last summer, we sold our fitness nutrition company, T4E Systems. It hasn't been that big of a secret. I've alluded to it here and there. Today, we want to tell the story about how that came about and introduce you to the new owners and let Vince and Erica share their vision and kind of our combined vision for this, kind of share how we sold it, why we sold it. So thanks for joining us, guys. I'm really excited to share this. Finally, it's been like a year coming.
I know. I feel like it's been forever. So thanks for having us too.
Yeah, been long time coming. Glad to be here. Thanks for having us first off on your podcast. And thank you for being just incredible partners in this journey to make this thing happen and being exactly who you said you were. And I appreciate that for any of your listeners. I love Aaron and Jordan. They're amazing.
That's what happens because they're Ohio-based people. So that's
what it is. That's what it is.
Midwest people. Yep. You always know, like, oh, that's why I like them.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to take you back. So this was December 2021. Jordan.
I'm sorry. The camera's just like off. All right.
No, I'm over here I want to touch mine too, and I'm just going to leave it. It's like, I'm not doing it.
Are you good?
Yeah, it's fine.
So this was December 2021, and we had just gotten pregnant, and we were like, going back and forth for the longest time because we were balancing T4E Systems. And obviously, we've been in the fitness industry for 9 years up to this point. And we, at the 4 years prior to that, had started to build IFCA. So we had these two companies, and then we had a baby on the way, and our bandwidth was just spread thin. So we talked to many advisors, lots of nights soul searching. And finally we said, we should sell this company. And I was still like really on the fence about it for a lot of reasons. One, can you sell a fitness and nutrition coaching company? I hadn't really heard of anyone who had ever done it. I wasn't sure. And then just like my ego, but also my care for the team and what we had built. And Jordan came to me and said, we should sell it to this guy, Vince Pitstick. And I'm like, okay. Have you ever met him? Like, what are you saying right now? Does he I had no idea if you were business savvy. I had no idea if he would be like, this is crazy. What are you talking about? So he's like, I'm going to email him. So he emails Vince. A day later, Vince gets back and he's like, I was just having this conversation about how we're trying to go wide and we're trying to scoop up other companies. And like, we're on a mission here. And so Jordan's selling me on Vince, and he shows me one video of Vince at his team retreat, speaking to his team. And I'm going to let Vince kind of share his mission for the industry and where it's going, because you'll see what I'm about to say as soon as you hear him talk. But he shows this video. I was like, fuck, we have to sell it to him. I'm like, I want to go work for him. And that was kind of the thing after that was somebody is doing the thing that we set out to do so much better than us. How can we not do this at this point, right? So when we set out to develop T4E Systems, we wanted to build a functional health coaching company. We wanted to solve the problems that other coaches couldn't solve. And then once we started really following Vince and Nutrition Dynamic and what they were doing, we were like, man, we're not even close. There's no way we could fulfill this mission and fulfill IFCA's mission in the way that he's doing it. So we met after that point about every single week and we still have for probably a year and a half, or if we don't meet, we have a quick touch point. And just all the alignment was there. It's been such a great partnership. But Vince, what I'm so excited about having our audience hear from you is your passion for the industry and like where you see this going, and why did you have this idea of like, I need to scoop up other companies and I need to have a bigger impact?
Yeah, we find ourselves at a really unique period in human history. This is what I want any of the listeners to know. At different times, there are industrial revolution, right? We can go back, different industries revolutionizing. We could go back to the Industrial Revolution. Then we had the nursing revolution that essentially happened between 1920 and 1990. Innovations in healing or health industries, we've seen it happen many times. But the big one was nursing. And we're coming to a boiling point in American health where by 2030, 7 out of 10 people will be struck with a lifestyle disease. And I think we all remember, does everyone on this call remember the personal training gold rush about 15 years ago, about 15, 20 years ago?
I got in like right after that.
Got in right after that, right?
I got in the online training gold rush.
Yeah, online, that's right. And I watched as, interestingly enough, I was part of that. I was a trainer myself and I didn't know what I was doing. But all these people with all these different health issues were coming to me and I was just a trainer and I felt inequipped. But they needed a place to go that was not a doctor. That was it. They're like, I don't know where to go. My doctor's going to put me on meds. Where am I going? And now we're at a boiling point with so much illness that people are pouring into alternative therapy options. And the one area that has mastered the ability to reach every home where someone is sick or suffering or feels alone or hopeless is coaching, because we've mastered the virtual space. Medicine has not done this, right? We have a lot of people out there that have a desire to help other people, that want to get out of careers that do not serve them. They're not creating or helping others. They don't have much of a purpose. And we have this huge fitness industry. And then we have this huge industry of people who got left out by the medical system and not helped. So interestingly enough, we have a boiling point in American society where people are looking for alternative options. And yet we have this huge field in fitness and in just alternative health, holistic services, where you have all these people who might not be doctors, but they have this huge desire to help people. And I saw this opportunity many years ago in my own personal journey of recovery. And I've spent the last 18 years of my life dedicated to reshaping and creating an industry that is about to boom. And how do we integrate it? How do we revolutionize it? How do we make it better? And then how do we make it a sustainable, legitimate career for people to come? And that has been my whole focus. And so when proof of concept was Nutrition Dynamic, which, now does, almost 1.1 a month, right? For any coaches out there who believe what's possible, 1.1 million. I'd say those numbers to help people understand where their mind can go and they can dream.
Talk about money all the time on this podcast.
Yeah, right. I figured that. That's why I knew that would be okay. So it's the largest in the fitness health space. And so ironically, people who have health issues, guess where they're going to? The fitness industry. So why don't we equip fitness coaches with functional health tools? Oh, wouldn't that be amazing, right? We proved the proof of concept, but now we understand that we want to hit different demographics because every coaching company has their market, has their market share, has their community. And we feel at Nutrition, I felt, not at Nutrition Dynamic, but my goal is to revolutionize the coaching industry. I want one functional health coach or practitioner for every 100 people in the United States, which is what we have for nursing. And the only way we're going to be able to truly do that is horizontal growth, meaning that I either help grow other businesses or I get involved in those other businesses and they help their community, right? So it was interesting because we were looking at the horizontal model. AT&T's done it. These big organizations have done this, that have changed all of our lives in one way or another, right? So I said, okay, we need to look at horizontal growth, which is looking at acquiring other businesses that can help us achieve the goal in their community and plug in our systems and make it work. And so it was crazy because I just got done telling my executive team, we're talking about how we were going to change the industry and it wasn't going to be done with one company, not even close. And then I get an email from this guy, Jordan Duggar. I'm like, okay, who's this dude? Who's this guy? And I remember I said, I'm going to follow God on this. And I came all the way out there. And I remember we went and had lunch out. Huh?
At Max and Irma's.
Max and Irma's. And I sat down and I told Will, I was like, if I go in there and I like him, I'm buying this company. Right. And I sat down with you and
that's stupid. Don't do that.
That's what he said. He said, don't do that. You're an idiot. Yeah. I'm the dreamer and Will's like the balance, right? Like he's so he's the devil's advocate. And I sat down and I listened to you guys speak for 5 minutes, how much you cared about the team that you'd built, the culture that you had built, the followers that trust you. And I go, that's me in a different face and name and t-shirt. And I'm like, okay, that's all I need to know. Let's do this. And so we walked out of that, obviously me and Jordan talked way too much, as we do, about dreaming, about what's possible. Right. And I'm sure I had way too much energy and you're like, is this guy really serious? Is this
I was in the first trimester of pregnancy. I'm like, what's happening right now?
Yeah. And so I went back and I said, if I'm going to be able to do this, what market do I best want to serve in the functional coaching space? And that's where bring in the amazing, game-changing entrepreneur that is Erica FitLove, where I said, I need somebody who cares about this as much as I do to command this thing, to be the face of it, to champion women's health issues exclusively. And let's create a company that is focused on that community, that fellowship, and really reach the everyday woman everywhere across the country and hopefully the world. And there was nobody better. As soon as we knew this deal was going to happen, I pretty much, in my head, Erica had already said yes. I hadn't even asked her, but in my head.
You didn't mention it to us either. So I'm so curious to hear from her perspective too, how this all went.
Basically, I bought it from you and I prayed. And I'm like, if I have the company already, she can't say no.
I know pretty much how it went. Yeah.
and then cue in Erica. Erica, please. I mean, would you share a little bit?
I don't know how I can follow everything that you just said and still sound decent. It's just like impossible. We can't let Vince go first anymore. Like we just can't do that. No, but he's right. Vince and I have worked together for so many years, and it's funny. I laugh at this because I love and adore Vince. Like Vince is literally one of my best friends. Yeah. I think of him as family. Like I go to him for everything. Medically, relationships, emotion, like you name it, right? But there comes a point in time where I'm like, okay, I got to cut the cord a little bit, right? Like we have so many businesses together. We work together in so many facets. I'm like, okay, maybe I should start cutting back how much I work with Vince. And then he calls me and it was like, hey, I've got this great company. I really think you'll kick ass. Like, come on, do it with me. And I was like, damn it, that's one more string that I have with Vince Pitstick. So it was a little hard in that decision making because Vince, he's super passionate. He'll talk forever. He's very busy, very animated. I'm like, I can only take so much of that. But what I love about Vince is he's just very passionate. He's very educated and he's super driven. So if I was going to go in business with anyone, it would obviously be him. I've trusted him with so much of my life. Working with him in another capacity was just an easy answer. So for him, the way I envision this company, obviously, is Vince is the brains behind it, right? He knows everything, the ins and outs of your body and your hormones and your gut. But we also know Vince is very animated and is an Italian man. And it's much different than the everyday female, right? So for me personally, I have been through thyroid cancer. I've been through autoimmune disorders. I'm a mom, I'm a wife. There's different aspects of my life that he could never understand, right? And for me, when it comes to health coaching companies, I'm with Aaron. I got in the gold rush when online training was a thing, when influencers were becoming influencers. And there was kind of a trend that I saw with online fitness businesses. It felt very, what's the word? And I don't want to make anyone feel, but it felt very manly, right? It felt very male dominated. And when I was reaching out for companies, just looking for help, beyond even maybe Vince, it just felt very no one can understand me. It felt very tough. It felt very rigid. It felt very ego driven. And that is not what us women want when we look for help. I just recently went through changing my doctors, and this is a prime example. I went to my doctor because I'm like, I have these weird things going on with my body. I know my body. Can we get an MRI or something? Because something's just not right. And he was like, drink some electrolytes, come back in a few days. And he literally told me to stop advocating for myself. And as a female, I was like, how many of us go through that in a doctor's office and we're not being listened to and we're kind of being gaslit a little bit, or it's just, I feel like the medical world and functional world is very male driven. So I told Vince, I will only work with you if we can make this company very female-esque, right? Mm-hmm. I want a company to where a woman sees our page or sees our coaches and is like, man, I want to work with someone who's a mom and has, a sickness like me, or I want to work with someone who's gone through the same things I did, and have them feel comfortable coming to the company and reaching out. I kind of thought of the Dove campaign that always sticks out in my head, when they had literally every shape and size of woman possible on their campaigns, and they were all in the same bra and panties, but they all felt comfortable and confident as a community. And that's what I wanted for the health coaching company. And that's what I want. That's what our vision is, right? Very open, very soft, but also very educational. So that was the only reason why I decided to work with him and have another tie. Other than that, it would not be happening for sure.
Yeah. Erica, whether she knew it or not, is a visionary. And I've always wanted, with all of my people, I befriend people of greatness. One, because it's like synergistic with my personality type, but two, I put myself around those individuals because of what the energy exchange, and it levels me up. Erica levels me up. That's why I wanted an opportunity to partner on something bigger, something that we could work on the rest of our lives together. Cause she's like my best friend. And I wanted something that would work for us, that we could synergistically do that for a very, very long time. And she has the vision. So I said, I want to be systems. I want to add the functional medicine in the background. I don't want you to worry about any of that. And I want you to create the company of your dreams, right? Because the company of her dreams is the company of the everyday woman out there who's dreaming about a better tomorrow, reaching their potential, getting over their illness, right? Being proud in that dress, showing up to their wedding the way that they want to show up, showing up for themselves. And that's not going to come from me. I don't have that. She does. And that's why the partnership is unstoppable, in my opinion.
Yeah. Erica, every time I've ever spoken to you, you just have such a tendency to, underrate your achievements, and you show so much humility. It's really wild. And I think, like, hearing you speak about the vision that you have for the company and how that mends with Vince's application and greater vision to how it ties together to change the world is really astounding. It's like your marketing vision is really cool, because Steve Jobs always talked about, I think he's one of the best marketers of all time, how we don't sell computers, right? You never see an advertisement for Steve Jobs products that's like, here's our processing speeds, here's our, like all these functional details about the product. It's what are our values and who are the people that we're going to help you become. And everything that you just spoke on right there, I think is what's going to take T4E to actually make a change, because you're going to help market that company in a way that's like not based on what we can do, but who will help you become. And I think that's powerful.
Yeah, thank you. And that's, and talking to women and just living it myself. And I think, you always say, I don't talk high enough about myself. And I think that's why people relate to me and women relate to me. Because how many of us, and I'm sure Erin can understand, especially as a mother, do we feel like we're never like good enough, right? Like we're never like doing our best as a mother or as a friend, or, me with my health. I've had so many health obstacles, and I'm like, man, like, I feel bad for my family and friends that I have to deal with this, right? Like there's so much of a woman that never feels good enough in a lot of aspects. And I think that's what brings the community around me, is I'm very open and honest and vulnerable about it. I don't bullshit anything. I've had so many people tell me, don't talk about your mental health online. Act like you've got your life together. People rely on you. I literally had someone tell me that, like, people rely on you. So don't tell them that stuff. Or don't tell people that you're going for an MRI for your brain, or you found a lump on you. Like, just make it seem like your life's great. And I'm like, why? There's so much bullshit. Yeah, there's so much bullshit out there already. Why not be the person that I can relate to the most, that has the platform? Like, I know I look for the sloppiest of sloppy people, the real moms who are like, got baby vomit on their shirt, the hair looks like this. Like, I'm sitting on a mattress on my floor because I'm in between moves right now. Like, I want to talk and relate to those people, because they know what it's like to go through the darkest of the dark and go through the trenches. So that's what I envision for T4E. And I've even told our coaches, and you guys obviously know those girls very well. I said, how do you want us to be different? And when we were all at the summit together, I could kind of see it. Like, they were even uncomfortable a little bit themselves, because they were comparing themselves to all the other coaches that were there for Nutrition Dynamic. And I even asked them, I said, what do you feel right here, right now? And they said, uncomfortable a little bit. I said, why do you feel uncomfortable? And they're like, because we don't feel like we're up to their level. And I said, that is where you're going to be different. And we're going to use that feeling for what our vision is for this, right? Like, their vision is something different, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean that you're any less than. So I really wanted them to use that fuel. And one thing that we all said is just less ego. One thing in the fitness world, it's so full of ego, right? Who looks better, who has better progress quicker, who can make more money, who can have flashier things. And it's very ego driven. And I don't want that for this company. I want us to just, as silly as it is, be like Kumbaya Dove commercial feels, right? And if it takes us a little bit longer to get to that status that we want, I'm okay with it, because it's the vision and the concept of the company that's important to me.
That's powerful.
Yeah, this is something that Jordan and I tell coaches all the time, because oftentimes they're like, I don't know enough to be good or whatever. The best character traits of a coach that we've found are empathy and high levels of optimism. Because even right now, as a client, Vince, to be proud, I'm going through a flush right now. And
He's been on it too.
I'm
You've been on it, huh? Yeah. Man, to be mom, commander of all these amazing coaches, to have to run Jordan's life, right? And run your own flush. You're a badass.
It's tough.
Yeah.
The thing with it though, being on the client, thank you, by the way. But the thing being on that client side, you can know like all the ins and the outs. I know what I'm supposed to do and I know why I'm doing it. It's been explained to me really well. But what do I look for in my coach? I'm like, help me. Do I really have to cut out caffeine? Like, give me some emotional support. You know what I mean? Like that's what I am would pay for at the end of the day. That's what I really, really want. And so we always talk about this, and she won't be a surprise to any of the T4E coaches, because Allie is like one of my best longtime friends. She's on T4E. She is like the best coach I've ever come across because of those high levels of optimism and empathy. Her clients, like, it doesn't matter how much you know, it matters how much you care. And then to be able to plug those guys into a system like Vince, I'm like, you've got a whole crew that has your back, RDs, doctors, like anybody. You just escalate that issue and your people are in good hands.
Yeah, that actually brings up a question I wanted to ask you, Erica. In your career, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have built your business mainly through like lower ticket products. I don't want to say tier, but lower ticket products, right? Which had their place early on, programs, things like that, right? Has this been your vision to have a more higher touch, more personalized, more connection-based fulfillment model?
Yeah. And your podcast, I'm sure many people in the fitness world can attest to, they've gone through the same thing, right? Aaron, I'm sure you experienced it at first too, is when you first start in the fitness world, on Instagram back in the day, it was like my app is still one of my biggest making monthly revenue incomes, right? I make over $30,000 a month just from the app, and I don't even promote it, right? And that's a very
for
low
everybody
ticket.
Listening, I just want you to understand that's like, if you want to do that, go back to 2012 and like have a big brand like Erica. It's not going to work. But anyways,
but here, I'm going to be honest though with you, it has declined. There was years where I was making over $1 million with just the app itself, right? And it's not like that anymore. There's ebbs and flows, and it's been slowly on the decline. So for me, it's always been diversifying myself, and then learning how to have the bigger ticket items. And also, you just burn yourself out. I've learned the hard way, right? Like, you are like, oh, my app or coaching. Aaron, I don't know if you went through this, but when I first started online coaching, my brand was called, I laugh at this because it's terrible, but it was called like Real Chick Fitness. And I think I charged like $100 a month, and they got like tech support, email support, because I just wanted clients so bad. Yeah. And I still have people that will call. My old number is now my business line. So I will still have people call or text that cell phone who were clients from 10 years ago and be like, is this still Erica? And I'm like, lesson learned, right? Just lesson learned. So, and I've learned over time too, Aaron, how you said that emotional support is super beneficial when it comes to coaching. You cannot get emotional support, and other things that we want, like somatic, training for our coaches, the functional stuff. You can't get that for $20 a month anymore. If you want that, go on YouTube, right? Like, I've had to reteach my audience, which has been really hard. To Jordan's point, I've made all my business and all my money from low ticket items. So retraining my audience has been a little bit of a battle, but it's gotten easier, right? When I first talked about T4E, their sales teams was constantly like, hey, we've got these people who are like super surprised at the cost of everything. So then I was like, fuck it. Oh, I don't know if I can cuss on this, but I said,
you can say
it.
Shit, whatever you want.
Okay, I said, fuck it. I'm going to be honest on my stories and on my email list and all that stuff, and be like, hey, this is an investment. You're going to look to spend a couple $1,000s, and just be honest, right? Because I'm still part of that mentality back from the old school days of like, oh, keep it hidden and, just surprise them. And what that doesn't work for my audience. They're used to low ticket items. They want upfront, honest. And since then, it's been great. Sales calls turn into actual clients because I'm very open and honest. And again, I've built my audience by being very honest and open. So why would I do that? Why would I do anything different with what I'm going to do with my business?
Yeah.
I think, if I can real quick, the next era of coaching that we're stepping into is just, I want people to understand, it has big medical overtime. So if we look at the medical industry, we understand where the coaching industry is going. So if you go back to about 1900, okay, I know going back kind of far, but there were a lot of sole proprietor coaches, doctors. And then what happens is over time, as industries grow, what people realize is that, okay, I can practice, but I want something sustainable. And what Erica is realizing also in that app model and some of the lower ticket models is that without a system underneath you, it's very hard to maintain that energy as a long-term career. And I think a lot of people, when they get into coaching, they've got the energy for it at first, but they're not building towards anything. Yeah. They're just adding clients instead of building systems that allow for sustainability long-term. So what's happening right now is very similar to what happened again during the network rush that started in about 1980s. So you rarely find a sole proprietor doctor on their own anymore that's not in a network, right? Or hasn't built a bigger entity with other doctors. Is this making sense? Like a collaboration, a partnership. Why I'm saying this is that if people watch Erica's career moving forward from here, and one of the reasons we wanted to partner is that it's one thing to build a coaching company, but it's another thing to build a sustainable entity that is providing value to others and to make it prosperous for others, for you and for your family, for a decade, 2 decades, something that's longer term, right? And so what I think you're going to see, and why Jordan and Aaron, what you do is so important. One of the things that I'm proving, that's why the Metabolic Network is supporting T4E so much. What we want to show the industry is that companies need to get organized. We need to not be random sole proprietors, just trying to get a few clients in the door month to month. We actually have to have an organized business. And then as soon as you have that, now you need to start building systems where it runs itself. Right. And the more coaches we can get to do that, the more organized professional this industry becomes. And that's how we build a scaffolding of an industry that helps millions of people, right? So it can't be, random sole proprietors running around trying to make a few dollars to make the month meet. It has to turn into a significant amount of organized businesses building systems that become self-running entities on their own. And that's what Erica and I are building, which is different from her career before. She's like, I want to build something that runs itself and that provides a lot of value for my family and for everyone else's family across the board. And that speaks back to what you and Jordan do. You're helping people get off the ground, build their business, but then also start to build systems further than that.
That makes perfect sense. I wondered how you sold her on this, and that was probably your sales pitch.
Well, and to his point too, I always tell my husband this. When I first met him, he's like, "What is an influencer?" Right? And I said, "I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have another 5 to 8 years on social media. Like I'll be done by then, because there's always going to be someone younger, cooler story, better, whatever, right? Like we all have our runtime." And I said, I'm just kind of really burnt out of being Erica FitLove. Like as great as it is, I've just spent so many years being that like in front of the camera. And don't get me wrong, like TV shows and stuff, I love, that's my passion. It's where I come to live. And, me and Vince will be filming a show in December. And we're going to be, that's my passion, but I no longer want to be the run-of-the-mill influencer. And I needed a company that I could grow and let run without me running it in the next 5 to 10 years. Right. And like to Vince's point, I have a family, I've got teenagers, and I want to retire young and enjoy life and things like that. And just being so in front of the camera all the time and those low ticket items was never going to do that for me.
So anybody, to all of Aaron and Jordan's listeners, I know many of you at first are just going to figure out how to pay the bills, and please do that. Like do what you got to do to get by. But as soon as you start as soon as your bills are paid, start thinking about how can I make this sustainable long-term. And that comes back to building systems, right? And building an actual company, an entity that runs itself, because that's where almost, after 10 years, only 4% of companies make it, and only half of those are profitable.
Yeah.
So if you start earlier putting in systems and learning about that, then you'll be able to build something that just is there for you for many, many, many years on, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's also a risk to be aware of too, that what you guys are doing, what we're doing is going to, in my opinion, position us perfectly to hedge against this risk, which is, you know, the AI revolution, right? Where we have everybody who is trying to figure out how to automate delivery, automate all these different processes that like remove the human component. Whereas I think we should go the opposite, right? Where the human component becomes in less quantity, less supply, demand is going to exponentially increase. So it's like, how do you align yourself with the right people and scale high level service and high level touch point, high level results, right?
Yeah. It'll be a long time before they're able to create an AI experience. People will pay extra for the human experience. That's why I'm telling everybody, if you look 15 to 25%, and in online fitness, it'll be 33% year over year for the next 5 to 8 years in this industry is the growth, right? So if people really wanted to get in now and build something that was sustainable, the time is now, right? And that's why I wanted to open something up with Erica so quickly, because I see what's happening and where the industry is going. But even as AI grows and we become more disconnected, guess what? Connection's going to become extremely valuable, right? So even if a lot of the influencers that used to have all of the app with all the stuff built on it, I think AI could take over a lot of that. I don't think higher end, intimate relationship, one-on-one or boutique services, I don't think it's going to touch that. I think that's going to actually grow because of it.
You'll find this interesting. I have a friend who, well-known guy in the space, has a large coaching company. And I was talking to him the other day and he's like, man, check out what I've been doing. He basically recorded his voice and put in all the inputs within ChatGPT so that it can model his voice. And he has all this check-ins automated so that the check-in submissions get uploaded in ChatGPT and then it's his AI voice responding to them. He's like, dude, it's amazing. I'm like, that is crazy. That is the worst idea ever.
Yes.
Yeah, and especially like just human connection, right? And again, talking to Aaron's point, as a mother, we need that human connection. And that's why this coaching company, again, that vision of like real, vulnerable, going through the shit together, and that human connection is going to be so damn important, especially for women, right? Like that's, at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I need to talk to an actual adult, not my kids. And sometimes that's my only interaction is with my coach. So I completely understand.
Yeah. We have 5 minutes left and this will be a rabbit hole, but I do want to touch on it.
Especially with
Vince, you talked about it with like, the main reason I needed to bring Erica into this is I needed to be in proximity to her. She levels me up. That was a big part of our conversation too. We kept saying like T4E is just the start of a relationship. Like we just need to do things together. We need to build things together. We need to be in proximity to one another. And like I've always known this was important. And I always joke that Jordan has made all of my friends because he's like the networker in the relationship. I'm like, once they're here, I'm good. I will text you back. He won't. I'm solid.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
But being around you've really influenced me in that way too. Like, your network is just so powerful and so important. Do you mind just speaking to that a little bit? Why you think like that? Why it's important?
Yeah. So the initial part of it was like, my whole goal is total load impact. How do I create the most impact possible? And the only way I can do that is with other great people, other individuals of greatness. 99%, and nobody follow this if you're not very good judge of character. And I'm not saying I've always been, but I put my money and my effort and my time, I invest in people. I've always been that way, right? Because it's the fewest synergistic components that come together that make exponential outcomes. It's not you just working harder.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Right? You could do 10 years of working harder in 1 year being around individuals of greatness. I've watched it happen time and time again. I watched my father do it on his own. He is an individual of greatness, but on his own, he was only able to create a farm industry. Now, to his point, it was a great one, but he's wondering his career and what he could have done with it, and the amount of impact that he could have had was 1/90th what it could have been. And since my goal is to impact as many lives across the world as possible, I knew I needed to be around individuals of greatness. So I started creating a network. The network is called the Metabolic Network. And essentially what it is I build businesses with individuals of greatness. Erica, right? I've partnered with you guys on many things and many other individuals. And I open up services that are the scaffolding for other coaching businesses to come under. So the Metabolic Network is essentially 7 businesses, 150 staff, whether it's in medical support, supplements, labs, education through the university, And basically we are trying to build, one coaching company for every 100 people essentially in the United States. And we are providing a network, right, to revolutionize coaching. And we honestly believe that we're going to change the way health services are delivered, because I know that people are going to get isolated more as AI takes over. I think we know that technology and research do not make people better. They make people sicker. So as AI grows, people are going to get sicker. There is going to be a massive explosion in the health, holistic healing space over the next 10 years. And I'm telling people to double down and invest. And that's why I'm building all these businesses that once you get involved, there's someone there to help you with the right education, the right products, the right labs, the right know-how. And I partner with other individuals of greatness, such as Erica, such as you and Jordan, to help me do this. And I think you all are beginning to see that too, that I think your role is much, much bigger than you. And when you connect yourself to that, you have infinite amount of energy to be out there and pour and give and grow and help other people prosper. I hope I summarized it enough. Gosh, I don't know. But.
No, that was great. I hope that motivates anybody who leans on the excuse, well, I'm introverted or whatever, to join a community, put yourself out there, get around the right people. You summarized that really well, because working harder is not a strategy. It's not the way you're going to get there. It's not the way you're going to make impact.
Yeah. Well, this has been fantastic, guys. We had a hard stop, and I'm sure that Erica and Vince will grace us back on the podcast soon. We're going to do more shows together, have you guys over to the house. But I just want to share, if you are a coach listening to this, and, coaches need coaches. That's a motto that we repeat, ad nauseum. You guys have heard it a million times. If you're somebody who, wants to consider working with T4E, their team of coaches, not only for your own health, but to understand like what a business model looks like or can look like with the right people, the right systems, the right processes, how can they get a hold of you guys to learn more about T4E, or even what you do, Vince, in Metabolic Mentor?
Erica, you want info@T4EHealth.com, right?
Yeah. He's like, I want to make sure, Erica. Yeah.
Double check. So we are
Yeah.
actually looking for another coaches right now. We're actually
yes.
growing enough. We are starting to look for other coaches. So you can definitely email us, or Erica, do we even give your email out publicly? I don't know if we do that.
No,
That would be,
we do.
yeah, I was gonna say, right. So, but info@T4EHealth.com. And then also, if you're just someone who feels like, the fitness and medical industry could be different, if you've wanted to dip your toe into coaching and you have no idea if this is what you want to do, if you've heard about functional medicine, or maybe you want to do a different kind of coaching, you can go to the 1 in 100 Facebook group. Over there, there are so many resources being poured into there by my top team, Dr. Carrie Jones. There's a lot of exciting offers that come in there. There's a collaboration coming with IFCA as well with MMU. And it's just a space for people to come and get a whole lot of value, information, and resources. We're not asking for anything. Just come over and join us at the 1 in 100 Facebook group. And I think you'll see what we're talking about. And there's a future for anyone that wants to, jump out of their career and into something with impact and purpose.
Love it. Thanks,
Beautiful.
guys.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
leave the show notes. Appreciate you guys.
Bye, guys.
See ya.